Hi everybody, it's Mucha Marapa from Matrix Global Media and founder of the Golf Professional School of Marketing, where we teach you marketing fundamentals that'll help you recession-proof your business during these unbelievably trying times. And you can justify all the reason that you went into business as a golf professional in the first place. Now, I hope you enjoyed the first video. It was long, it was really long. And that was the one where I was talking about the difference between brand marketing and response marketing. Now, you'll have to forgive me for taking half a step back before we get on to this second teaching that I'd like to talk to you about. The first is, the length of time. I try and keep some of these things down, but I just feel that sometimes, particularly illustrating some examples and perhaps more poignant examples that I have experienced myself, I think are always a lot more powerful than me just sort of reeling something off saying, look, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. So the first video went on and on and on, but it goes very much to the second part of what I was going to talk about and enlarge the reason for this second teaching as well. I appreciate that this might not go to everybody. Not everybody will get it. I'm totally fine about that. However, I know that there are a good handful of people who totally will, who will watch the video from start to finish, will apply the exercises in there, and they will see the benefits happening in their business. It's no different when you're a golf teacher. Sometimes you get somebody and you get them out on the range and you get them hitting the ball really well, and you're standing there supervising, and then what you say to them, you say, oh, look, I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Now remember what you keep working on, and so on and so forth. And they go, yeah. You see them in 2 weeks' time, and you can just tell, there's just a trained eye. You just look and you can say, oh, I was busy, oh, I had this going on, and oh, I wasn't able to do this, and then so then you spend the lesson again teaching them, getting to the stage. So what I'm trying to say is that this is designed for people who I will stand on the range with you. I will give you the knowledge, I'll give you the training, I'll give you the case studies, I'll give you my own experiences, I will give you homework. But then after that, you've got to get up back onto that range, you've got to put the balls down, and you've got to hit them, and you've got to work on it, and you've got to work on it. And if you can apply that to your marketing in the way that I'm teaching you right now, you will see such a benefit. This is a free training course, and I go on a bit, and they're detailed, but I can't really make any apologies for it because I know there's a lot of people out there that will be grateful for it. So, the topic of today's lesson, well, we're going to talk about the 3 M's of marketing: the what, the who, and the how. And you're going to say, hold on, Mucha, these are W, W, and H. Where's the 3 M's? Well, before I start this next lesson, let me just provide another bit of background information. A couple of years back in real time, I started studying the marketing teachings and philosophies of one particular gentleman. Now, I study a lot of them, I really do, but this one in particular really sort of struck a chord with me about how he has lasted over time, decades. I remember one of the great golf writers, and quite embarrassed to say I don't remember who it was in particular, but I remember a great piece of golf writing rather when they were talking about the great Jack Nicklaus, and they said, the thing about Jack is he won when he was fat, he won when he was thin, he won when he had long shaggy hair, he won when he had a crew cut, he beat Tom Watson, he beat Arnold Palmer, he beat Greg Norman. And what they basically said was that just sort of decade over decade, with all the different challenges coming Jack's way, he was still able to win, he was still able to maintain that consistency. And I think in many ways this particular gentleman has shown that, if there was no such thing as autoresponder emails, or the internet even, or social media, this fella would do just fine, and he's proved it over time. Now, with a lot of these modern tools that he has at his disposal, he's doing unbelievable stuff. But what I liked about him was that there was an element of real survival about the way he teaches, to make sure that you don't rely on any one form of marketing for a start. And then he came through with a marketing triangle. Now, the gentleman I refer to is the truly great man, Dan Kennedy. And the 3 M's that we're going to discuss now, and I'm going to urge you to apply to your own business and your own way of marketing, once again highlighting some of my own stories, are the message, which is the what. the market, which is the who, and the media, which is the how. So get your notebook, get a cup of tea, coffee, water, whatever it is you want, because we're going to be here for a while, but there's going to be some really, really great learning. And I'm just very proud to pass on some of the things that I'm learning on to you in a way where during these very, very trying times, I know they will help your business. So, as always, let the learning begin. Okay, we are here now with lesson 2, the 3 M's of marketing. Some really detailed stuff, so please be present, turn off all the distractions around you, get a notebook and pen, and let's get some really great marketing learning going for you. Okay, so what we're referring to here is the marketing results triangle. And the definition that we're referring to when we talk about results and saying, look, this triangle will get you results, we are once again, of course, talking about the response, getting people to take action, because they want to, they need to, and even better, because they simply feel they have to. This is totally different from us wanting to sort of say, hey, listen, you've got to do this because we think this will be great. We think this will be in your best intentions. If we can turn our marketing to the level where folks want to, they need to, and they simply have to make that response, then we're in really good shape. Previously, we discussed examples of action, so I won't read all the way through them, but we're basically on the back of our marketing asking people, asking our target audience, asking our prospects to do something. Now, I'd like you to take a look at this picture. This gentleman is Dan Kennedy, and he has gone a long way to sort of helping so many small businesses, entrepreneurs, large corporations as well, with some of his marketing philosophies, which are totally fascinating, and I know you'll find them fascinating too. Now, what Dan Kennedy is big on is getting people to take action. Yeah, just like we'd mentioned before, not just because we want them to, but because they want to, because they feel they simply need to, because they simply feel they have to. But first of all, let me tell you a very quick story that Dan Kennedy had put across to us to sort of explain the whole importance of why his marketing system, why his marketing philosophy works. He used to live in Arizona, and as a consultant, he did a lot of his work from his home office. And one day, he was there on the phone doing a telephone consultation with a client, and there was some knocking on the door. Now, you will find that this pragmatic, driven, single-minded human being is very big on eliminating all distractions. So needless to say, while he was talking to a client, providing that value to the client, he ignored the knocking. Well, the knocking then turned into banging, and it just went on and on while he was on the phone thinking, well, who is this guy and what's he doing? Well, Dan carried on speaking to his client and doing the sort of consultation that was happening. And then the person who had been banging on the door then came round the corner to Dan's office, which had a window so he could see Dan and Dan could see him. And he started banging on the window, quite animated like. Dan Kennedy, being Dan Kennedy, just turned his back on him and continued speaking to his client. Well, the banging and the frantic noise just turned into something that was just crazy. And Dan Kennedy turned around and was about to give this man his what for, and walked up to him, opened the window and said, just before he even said, "What's your problem?" the gentleman turned around and said, "I'm sorry to trouble you, but there was a car that was just driving by here. It was one of these hot Arizona summer afternoons. Somebody had flicked a cigarette across into his yard and had started a fire." So all of a sudden now, in the words of the great Dan Kennedy, this gentleman banging on the door went from being an unwelcome pest to a most invited guest. Now, let me give you some examples here of what we are referring to in marketing terms when we talk about the whole unwelcome pest, all right? here are some examples of some emails. I'm not going to go too much into them. I will just cover them very, very briefly of examples of when, we have this interruption marketing put on us. As you can see here, I'm not in the business of naming and shaming here, so I've taken the person's name away. I've taken, anything that will sort of be able to, let people narrow down on who this person is or who this organization is. But it started with an email sent to me. It literally had no name. It just said, "Dear something." And it said, our ads have been very successful covering these areas. It will go out to these people, nothing specific. For your information, we have 3 spaces available. So it's first come, first served. There's an element of sort of backing you into a corner. And this was interesting. Feel forward to forward this message on to anyone who wants to advertise their goods and services to hundreds of thousands. So what it tells me was he wasn't particularly intent on necessarily getting my business in the first place. This is why he didn't take the time to find out who I was. And secondly, he's saying, well, listen, if this isn't for you, send it on. And, if you want it to appear, I'll need to know by the end of this week. Here was another one, a shortened one. And this was actually quite disappointing because I know the personal trainer and I know how good this personal trainer is. And I just felt this reeked of being that uninvited, that unwelcome pest. All right. Hi all. If there's anyone wanting fitness tips, please follow me on Twitter. And they put their Twitter or they put their website here, and that was it. And then one final example again. This came from a golf and beach club, and a lovely one for that matter. Dear partner. And actually in the subject header, as you can see, it said undisclosed recipients. So once again, what I'm just trying to sort of explain to you is this whole unnecessary practice that too many small businesses go in throwing something out there in the hope that it sticks. So my question to you right now is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with the majority of the marketing that you're sending out, when you do send it out, are you 100% sure that you are a welcome guest? So, with that in mind, needless to say, this lesson is about having a massive attitude adjustment. Here's the man himself, the great Jack Nicklaus. Currently, the way things stand, the greatest golfer to ever play this game. Many will say he will remain that way whether Tiger overtakes him or not. And it was really interesting when we used to look at Jack over the years and how well he used to do. There was a saying he had which was going to the movies. Now, you need to really bear with me on this insightful stuff here. Jack said, I never hit a shot, not even in practice, without having a very sharp, in-focus picture of it in my head. First, I see the ball, where I want it to finish, nice and white and sitting up high on the bright green grass. Then, the scene quickly changes and I see the ball going there, its path, trajectory and shape, even its behavior on landing. Then there's a sort of fade out, and the next scene shows me making the kind of swing that will turn the previous images into reality. Pretty insightful stuff, isn't it? And what I really like is this final bit where he says, the next scene shows me making the kind of swing that will turn the previous images into reality. So, when we look at Jack and we look over the years and we see what he did, how he did it during certain times. I remember, and I mentioned it in the sort of pre-video clip here, Jack won when he had this short crew cut. He won when he was carrying a few more pounds. He beat the King. He beat the Merry Mex. Gary Player. The great Jewel in the Sun, although he didn't win, he did win on that day, if you know what I mean. Johnny Miller, who for all intents and purposes was the Nicklaus apparent. Jack really was the best, and he showed it over decades that he could compete at the very, very highest level. And, it was actually quite funny when Juan Rodriguez, known as Chi-Chi to many, said that Jack Nicklaus is a legend in his spare time. And what he meant by that was obviously Jack's marriage to his wife Barbara, kids. He was forever known as somebody who would never play, more than a couple of weeks on tour, so he could be at home to spend some time with the kids and go to Little League Baseball and dance recitals and all the other things like that. And as you can see, as years gone on, he and Barbara still together, still loving life, and particularly with their grandchildren, which I believe at the last count was 22 grandchildren. Now, time will tell indeed whether this fella here is going to overtake Jack Nicklaus as the all-time, great golfer by records alone. But what I wanted to sort of really stress here was that there was unrivaled success that Jack enjoyed, and he just really stood the test of time. So you're going to ask, well, what has that all got to do with you becoming a better marketer? Well, when we look back and we saw Jack winning these tournaments and beating Trevino and beating Arnold Palmer, Johnny Miller, beating Greg Norman, Tom Kite and Seve in '86 at the Masters, we look back and we say, well, was it the towering irons? Was it the putts that he willed into the hole? Was it the 300-yard drives? But no, we know that Jack, more than most, really prepared the right way. He made sure that if he was going to enter a tournament, play on a course that required a certain shape of shot or a certain shot to be played into greens, he would prepare. He was the ultimate when it came to preparing to win. So there was visualization, there was preparation, there was course management, and of course there were masses of concentration. So there's an execution of a plan based on preparation, application, and attention to detail. And there was a great saying that Jack had, was he had a wonderful ability to play his game when no one else could play theirs. And I thought that was quite prevalent, particularly on the back nine on a Sunday afternoon. So, needless to say, I've just told you something that everybody in the golf industry knows. This man was truly, truly one of the all-time examples of winning over a long period of time and doing it via great preparation. So now we move on to this gentleman, Dan Kennedy, where it's a bold statement that I'm going to say here, but in many ways I think that this man is almost like the Jack Nicklaus of small business marketing, in the fact that he has had unrivaled success decade after decade after decade, no matter what is going on in the economy. And when you used to look at Jack putting, you had the impression that every single putt, every single shot for that matter, really mattered. He would just put all his effort into every single shot. And it was the great man Jack himself who said, if you set up correctly, there's a good chance you'll hit a reasonable shot. Now let's look at that. If you set up correctly, so prior to the shot being hit, it's the setup that will enable you to hit a reasonable shot. And as we know, he hit a lot more reasonable shots than most. There he is. So back to Dan Kennedy, and what his focus has been is making sure, similar to Jack winning tournaments and Jack hitting great shots, Dan Kennedy has done all he can to ensure that more times than not, we become welcome guests every time we approach somebody to try and sell our products, our services, our programs, or of course ourselves. Invited guests. And as a result of Dan Kennedy's devotion, if you like, to making sure that this procedure can be as meticulously put together as possible, he created the Marketing Results Triangle, which, as I said at the start of the video, we would all do very, very well to follow. Now, this triangle consists of 3 key areas, and these are the 3 M's of marketing that I was talking about. We talk about the message, we talk about the market, and we talk about the media. These are the 3 M's. And, you know, in other words, we are talking about the what, the who, and the how. Now, when you look at the triangle, this is what I would like you to really imprint in your mind, because as you can see, they all go and they're set in such a way where they are all reliant on each other. You're also saying that one does not necessarily take precedence over another. This is the marketing results triangle that I want you to pay very, very close attention to. Dan Kennedy also says that in many ways it could be seen as a 3-legged stool. So when we say that one aspect of the triangle doesn't take priority over another, yet they all need to be there, if you liken it to having a 3-legged stool, of course, if one of the legs goes, the balance is totally gone on the stool. So this is it: the who, the how, and the what. The message, the market, and the media. So what tends to happen if we do put together an ineffective marketing plan or a marketing strategy or a marketing initiative is we might have the what and the who. So for example, we might have a nice car and we might have the target audience that we want to sell that car to, but we don't have the media. Conversely, we might have the target audience that we want to sell something to. We might have the way we're going to sell it to. It might be an open evening at the car showroom, or we're taking out an advert on TV, but we don't have a message about what is in, what's in it for them. What are the great benefits of getting that car? And then finally, of course, we might have the message, the what, and we might have the media, the how, but we have got no who. Who is it going to? And that's what we've got to make sure that we totally sort of analyze and make sure that we've got the what, the who, and the how. So first of all, what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on the media, the how, okay? And when we say the media, what we're talking about specifically is we're saying, what are you using to market your idea, your message, your product, your service? And when we say, what are you using? Well, the examples of media, so a website, social media, if so, social media, which type? Is it pay-per-click advertising? Again, which type? Are you on Google or are you on Facebook? And you can see the list over here, and this is where it gets so important, and I think you're beginning to really understand the importance of having, different types of media. Too often, when you hear somebody just say, okay, well, look, we're going to get our website, or we want to be on Facebook, and that's just one type of media. So with media, this is normally the first area that we focus on. As we said, all 3 areas are reliant and interdependent of each other, yet typically it's the media that begins our putting something together. And let me show you how mistake number 1 can typically occur. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. This is how we normally tend to choose the how. Allow me to explain. So normally we are going to get a phone call from somebody who is there for us, so they say, and they give us a call with a great opportunity. Now, little do we realize that this person is under serious pressure behind the scene, serious pressure. So this means when they're on the phone to us, they are not necessarily looking for a number of decent reasons, but they are not looking to see exactly what it is we need. And you know what? They will say whatever we want to hear. They will just say, yep, look, no problems. This is a great opportunity for you. This advertising space, definitely. I'll tell you what, just spoken to the boss. They've said, you can have this page and that page, no problems at all. And as a result then, they're coming to us saying, you've got to get floor space at this exhibition, or we've got an email blast going out to 5,000 people, we've got a full page advert going for this amount, so on and so forth, pay-per-click advertising, website, you name it. These are the examples that will have somebody on the phone to us like this saying, here is your opportunity. But media, without the message, the what, and the market, the who, will fail to maximize its true potential. And, just like you used to get Jack just preparing meticulously for something like that, we would fall seriously flat. So let me get an example to you now when we're talking about these 3 M's. And let's use a media example for the PGA Merchandise Show that takes place at the start of every year there in Orlando. This is our media. This is our sort of area where we want to sell our product, our service, our program, or of course what we do ourselves. And as again, we've had our guy on the phone just sort of saying to you, listen, great opportunity, Orlando Golf Show, plenty of floor space for you. So many pros are going to be there. I mean, this is going to be ideal for you to kickstart your whole year. And in a really smart move, he goes ahead and he contacts the boss or the powers that be, or the contingent of people who are saying, where can we send our money? And we're told in no uncertain terms, or we're certainly made to feel that way, hey, you are going to that show. So here we are, the show. We've decided that this is our form of media. So now what we've got to focus on is the what, what's our message, and market, the who. Now, I'm going to use one of my previous projects as a bit of an example here. I had the very good fortune and the privilege to be the European Sales and Marketing Director for this terrific resort out in South Africa, Fancourt. And during that time, I had the task, albeit a very pleasant task, of bringing different forms of revenue and different target audiences over to Fancourt. And during that time, I was in Germany doing golf shows, I was in Spain doing charity events, and in the UK also exhibiting at some of the golf tournaments. So all of a sudden now, let's just say, for example, that this is the media that I have been told under no uncertain terms, you are going to this show. And the big mistake too many make is thinking, well, because it is a merchandise show and golf pros are going to be there, we've already got a wonderful market to message match. And that's not the case. So what we did here with Fancourt was there was a great program called Tee Off in Paradise, which enabled golfers to go there, stay for a night or more, and for want of a better word, have a sort of all-in package where you could play golf, you could have a meal. If you had a non-golfer, they could use the spa as well, and that included breakfast and it included dinner, use of the facilities, and unlimited range balls. So now, if I was to take that sort of quite generic offer to something like the Orlando Golf Show, although it would certainly grab the interest of some, it would not still be specific enough. You got all the numbers and you think, how out of all those thousands of people can I narrow down on the ones who I could sort of, entice into coming out to South Africa? Well, this is where this man's philosophy once again begins to kick in, because he would call it very much blind archery. If I took that Tee Off in Paradise package to the Orlando Golf Show, he would call it blind archery. And of course, the definition of blind, number one, is not able to see. And number two, this one I really like, unthinking, without reason or purpose. And then archery, of course, is the art of sport of shooting with a bow. So Dan would call us advertising victims. That's what happens more times than not. We become advertising victims. We go to that show, we're made to think, yeah, look, this is a great opportunity, but we don't hold all the cards in our hands. And victim by thesaurus is a casualty, prey, or sacrifice. So, how can we avoid not falling victim to somebody who needs to just shift floor space? or page space or broadcast space at such a big event like the Orlando Golf Show. So it was time now to focus on the what and the who and the how. So what we did was we would look at something like Tee Off in Paradise, and we would tweak it around to begin to use the terrific golf academy that was at Fancourt. Now, there was natural grass, there was sunshine more times than not, a fantastic short game area where you could chip, putt, use the bunkers, and you had the ability to sort of take your own golf professional there or work with the Fancourt pros who were terrific. So this would enable us to turn and tweak a program like this as we did and have the exact same one, where instead of having the normal generic Fancourt logo and we have the Tee Off in Paradise name there, what we did in effect, we just put the Golf Academy, we swapped the wonderful photo that we had here with a photo of some guys and gals on the range hitting balls and working on it, and we called it a Golf Academy package. The other thing that we did very, very subtly, if you see here, that was Swedish crowns. That was 1,000 Swedish crowns per person per night. As you can see, literally just took a little bit off this because we wanted to also incentivize the pros, so we were able to sort of, give them an opportunity to earn from this. But instead of saying per night over here that we did, we just went over here and we made it a 3-night deal for this amount. We used exactly the same sort of bang for your buck that you get from the product, and of course now we'll be able to say use of academy facilities. So this was an example of really tweaking it in a bid to become that sort of invited guest when we began to sort of approach a target audience. So here we are going to the show, and we're more comfortable that we've got a product that will sort of begin to resonate with some certain target audiences. Now, as part of that, what we also wanted to start doing with the whole media side of it was we went to Pro Shop Europe, because in many ways we wanted to sort of elaborate on the opportunity here. For such a long time, everybody knew about going to Fancourt and playing the great golf courses, but what we wanted to do was start sort of tapping into the golf professionals and letting them know that there was what I liked to call a center of excellence there. So we went ahead and we crafted some messages now, just talking about that the practice facilities and the Golf Academy would be really great for the golf pros. So all of a sudden now, when we begin to look at Dan Kennedy's marketing results triangle, on the media side, well, we have the show that we're about to approach. With the message, we're talking about that center of excellence, that's the whole thing. It's not, oh, come here and play great golf and all the rest of it. We're just talking about a place that you can go there and you can work on your game. So the next thing was the who. The who. And no, I'm not referring to that wonderful British institution, The Who. I was talking about the who in the marketing triangle. Specifically, who is it we're hunting for when we craft a message? Who is it that we want our message to resonate with the most? Who are we hunting for? So again, rather than leave it to our person selling us the space saying, hey, listen, here you go, there's going to be so many people here, we can take it into our own hands, all right, and say, right, in a big show like that, who do we want to sort of tap into in this whole marketing triangle? Can we find a niche within our niche? So for me, with the Fancourt Golf Academy, what I started narrowing down to was, yes, there were golf professionals there, okay? There were golf pros there, but there were long-distance golf pros. Now, what I meant by long-distance golf pros is, there are a lot of golf professionals that take people to Spain and to Portugal, here in the UK, and Ireland for that matter, 3-4 hours tops. But there are a certain number of different golf pros that go long distance. Those were the ones that I wanted to target. Next, it was going to be golf federations, because I feel that with federations in particular, they're a little bit more sort of strategic about making sure that there are warm weather facilities for their players as they look to develop their games. And then finally, country of choice, I thought that Scandinavia, the whole Nordic market, I wanted to tap into your sort of Scandinavia, yes, but also, some of your other places there, your Icelands as well, where from certain times of the year, they just do not get out and play any golf. And therefore, I felt if I could nail those 3 areas of the target market, I would go from being an unwelcome pest to that invited guest. So, first of all, it was time to start looking for long-distance golf professionals. And by just doing a little bit of research, I found some clients that included Gary and Marion Pike that are based not too far away from me over here in East Anglia. And as you can see down here, they go to South Africa, China, British Columbia, United States, Thailand, Cambodia. Okay, so straight away that made sense to me to be able to approach them with trips to Fancourt. Likewise, there's the very impressive Ian Godliman, who for years now, not only in addition to teaching touring pros out there who actually play on the tour for a living, Ian sets up some terrific trips abroad, and as you can see, it's very small, but there's New Zealand, South Africa, Portugal, which he has done since time began, and the United States. So once again, I was able to begin to sort of really carefully craft the message to people who I know would be interested in hearing from me. And I went from being an unwelcome pest to that invited guest. And by pushing forward a Golf Academy package that sort of filled all the bells and whistles for them and filled the check boxes as well, it just made a total difference in my ability to comfortably go ahead and market to them. In addition, with that golf package, the Academy package, and wanting to tap into Sweden, I made the decision to approach the PGA of Sweden and see if there could be a partnership of sorts where they could promote the Academy facilities to their members. So as you see down here, they kindly agreed to do this, and of course this was then something that I was able to roll out to other federations who also endorsed it, and we were able to get to many pros very, very effectively. Also did a golf day in Sweden there, just to sort of really push and reinforce the desire we had to get the Nordic market out to South Africa. And one thing led to another. We got another form of media on the back of that, where we had Golfskolan, which was a crew that came out to Fancourt, and as you can see here, they filmed out there, and they even put a DVD with some great sort of scenes there, and this was just sort of some real game-changing strategy for us. So that was the long-distance golf professionals taken care of, and there was one other person who I wanted to tap in to sort of try and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and that was the wonderful Mickey Walker. Mickey, who played on tour for several years and then was the victorious European Solheim Cup captain. Well, Mickey's got a very successful event management company and also coaching company, and does tours abroad, but also does some commentary in the various media, which I'll talk about in a moment. So for example, this is Mickey's 2012 tour, which is going out to New Zealand. So the minute I picked up the phone to first call Mickey and say, hey, look Mickey, this is what I've got, I very much felt like an invited guest. And we cut a bit of a deal actually, because I sort of went through and it was interesting. When I say it was a deal, it was just, look Mickey, if you have a great time, we'll work with you on the sort of package we put together with you, but if you have a great time, could you give us some positive feedback, please? And therefore there was an opportunity with some additional media. Now here is Lady Golfer magazine, and Mickey is one. Mickey writes an editorial article in there. Now you can't actually see what is being written here, but she put a photo of Fancourt. If you look a little closer, this is Fancourt there, and she wrote a wonderful article, and this is what part of the article said. I can't lay claim to having played all over the world or visited many of the exclusive golf resorts, but I have travelled extensively and played golf in 45 different countries at the last count. And having just returned from South Africa and visiting Fancourt, I can honestly say it is my favourite golf resort. So, that was some really positive stuff. And as you can see now, with the 3Ms on the market side, we had long distance golf pros, golf federations, and we were really focusing in Scandinavia and other Nordic countries. With the message to the golf federations, we were saying that this is very much a center of excellence. Bring your future stars out here to come and play, have some warm weather training, play some challenging golf courses. With the long distance golf professionals like Mickey, Gary Pike, Ian Godliman, we were saying here is a high-end luxury resort that your very special clients will love. And then the Nordic countries, we were just stressing the whole importance that you could get somewhere which had the sun on your back when you've got just snow and cold weather. Then the media side of things. Now, this is the important thing. We had the Nordic Golf Show where we went to. We were using flyers, PR via Mickey Walker, PR via Pro Shop Europe. I also created a landing page for Fancourt Golf Academy. It was actually fancourtgolfacademy.com. Folks would go there, and the only thing you'd see there were the practice facilities. The pro at the time, Val Holland, was talking. There was a great interview with her. And then there was the instructional DVD done by our good friends at Golf Skålen. So in order to get some final additional social proof with this, we turned to the Golden Bear. And in 2003, when the President's Cup had been played in South Africa, when Ernie and Tiger nailed those epic putts to ultimately tie that particular match, and ensure that the cup was shared. Jack Nicklaus was out there and had the opportunity to witness some of the sort of golfing landscape out there. And once again, just by rummaging around, this was me being the serial researcher I am, just going through magazines, and I saw something there, obviously recognized the photo of Fancourt. And then when I went a bit closer, this is what Jack had said. I promise you, this South African coast isn't shabby. There is unbelievable land here. Unbelievable. Frankly, 50 years from now, I think some of the best seaside golf in the world will be right here. So what I'm trying to say is research the proof you need to reinforce the credibility of your product, your service, and your program. Okay? Combine that with a direct testimonial, results, evidence of what you've done from a current client or a past customer, highlight an existing project even, and use that to back up your marketing message. Okay, so in our case, what we did, we had Mickey saying, oh, listen, I have specifically been to Fancourt, loved it, this is fantastic. Then we got the information from Jack Nicklaus to say, this part of the world is amazing. And, you can research this. This doesn't have to be, and I hear folk, oh, well, this is Fancourt, or, our business is different, and so on and so forth. But what I'm trying to say is that, let's say you've got a junior golfing program taking place at your local golf club, and you've had somebody who has come to you for lessons. Well, straight away you can have that person say, listen, I've come to this golf club for lessons. They've worked on my game fantastically. It's been amazing. Then you go to Google, or you go to your various golf research organization. You get some news on junior golf, how it enhances the lives of kids and so on and so forth. All of a sudden you've got it there. It does not have to be, these big Hollywood resorts or getting big names to do it. You've just got to, as we like to say over here, get a little elbow grease, get in and amongst it, and you'll be able to do that. So, the other thing that you've always got to find yourself, and this is going to be one of the most important things, can you find a niche within your niche, right? And what I mean by that is that, can you find yet another niche within your niche, within your niche? Now, let me explain. One form that was great for me when working with Fancourt, I created just, an areas of interest form. And as you can see at the bottom here, when we started talking about spa and leisure breaks and wine tasting and weddings and honeymoons and meetings and incentives and safaris and real estate and things like that, what became very evident were within some of the groups that we were sending, there were patterns that were emerging. So even though I'm looking for golf professionals, are there golf professionals that love wine tasting? Or are there golf professionals that have families? All right. So therefore, and we actually specifically did this at Fancourt, it just turned out that there were so many of them where part of the deal we put together included the ability for the golf professional to actually come over with his family. So he had a really lovely property to himself, and that was huge incentive. So when we look at this marketing results triangle, we're once again focusing on the message, the what, the market, the who, the media, the how. The what, the who, the how. These are so important, and I know we've gone deep and detailed and will continue to do so. But once you manage to do this, this can just really, really change the fortunes and your overall outlook on your ability to begin to ensure that you're generating the right kind of business that you need. You're no longer an advertising victim. So, someone's not going to pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, I've got this opportunity for you. You may well take them up on it, but because you're able to sort of clearly articulate and understand this, no longer will you be an advertising victim to somebody who just desperately, whether it's you or whether it's somebody else, they just need to shift space, be it floor space, be it page space, be it pay-per-click space, be it yellow pages space. And in a funny sort of way, while he's really under pressure, you can help him in such a way where not only is the customer very happy, but the person selling is very happy as well. That's what we want to do. And you go to a big place like this, you'll never look at sort of big markets and big media opportunities again the same way, because you can begin to really narrow down on exactly who it is you want to capture the attention of. The who, the what, the how, the message, the market, the media. You must adopt this triangle to everything that you do. And again, please, as wonderful as this place was, I have used this purely as an example, and as we begin to get more and more success stories, I will adopt different ideas. Don't fall into this trap. Do not, dare I say it, do not feel the need to cop out by saying, well, I'm not selling an award-winning property. You're selling something where there is a market that you could tap into, a certain type of media that you can use, and the message, of course, that can really sort of enable you to resonate with that person. Okay, you've got to use this triangle. And as this man says, he's just very big on making sure that you avoid that blind archery, that you adopt this to everything that you do. So, homework time, as Dr. Shari, the lovely Dr. Shari, likes to say. So, first of all, what we would like you to do with your homework here is rate on a scale of 1 to 10 whether you think your current marketing projects see you as a welcome guest or an uninvited pest. And it's just, look, this is yes, of course, I'd like you to scribble it down, right? But it's a mental thing. Look at some of your current marketing projects, and, when you look a little deeper into what we've spoken about now, are you sort of uninvited or are you welcome? And, I use these examples where, there's not even a name that this is sent to. You see here, forward this on to anybody else, If you wanted to appear, I need to know soon. I mean, this reeks of the sort of desperation I certainly know I have felt in the past, and it just doesn't have to be like this. Nor does it have to be like this when you've got a wonderfully talented personal trainer who's just sort of saying, is there anyone wanting fitness tips? Please follow me. Fitness tips for who? Is it ladies looking to sort of get back into shape after having a baby? Is it kids who need to sort of stop going to McDonald's and Burger King and just sort of get into overall shape? Is it somebody who has just had a really bad injury and they're looking to get back into it? This is what I mean about this whole sort of, results triangle. It doesn't have to be this desperate and this impersonal. And then finally this one, where it's a wonderful resort located just outside an amazing city. I mean, there is no excuse for this anymore. To undisclosed recipients. You know, if anything, when you send something out like this, you know, take them to a landing page and just say, hey, look, sorry, I'm just updating all my details. We've got something. If you'd like this, please come to this page. Now, it might cut the number of people that you have in half straight away, but you know what? It will be more detailed. So, as you saw with a lot of these, those three I showed you about sort of how to decide whether they were indeed welcome or uninvited, you know, the market was unclear with those emails. The message was unclear. I mean, it's unclear as far as why do you want me to sort of follow you on Twitter? You know, you say for any tips, fitness tips, what kind of tips? And then finally, you know, the only thing I'll give it, which I did say to you before at the start, is the media. This is the area that a lot of the time you end up sort of inevitably doing first. And in this case, there was social media, specifically LinkedIn, and with the other two emails, they were just emails. That was the form of media. So please adopt this marketing results triangle as you go in your own mind and you assess for that first bit of homework. And remember, if you don't have the triangle in place, you know, it's almost like, you know, no longer having that three-legged stool. It'll look a little bit more than that. And your marketing initiatives and inevitably your business will be just there on its backside. So homework assignment number 1, rate on a scale of 1 to 10 whether you think your current marketing project, your current marketing projects you as a welcome guest or an uninvited pest. And interesting, you know, Dan Kennedy said things like, you know you're in the game, or that you've got it. And you know you're in the game when you begin to look at things like this, when you begin to assess this triangle, okay? When you look at something and you say, hey, listen, I don't see all three legs there, or, you know what, we're on our backside with this marketing initiative, then you are in the game. Homework assignment number 2. I would like you to buy this book. Now, it's called the No BS, yes, as in BS, the No BS series, which Dan Kennedy writes, and this is called Direct Marketing for Non-Direct Marketing Businesses. So let me very briefly explain this. What he's doing, in effect, is he is applying some of the traditional methods of direct marketing, okay, which the sort of catalog companies do, and you know, your infomercial sort of companies do, and applying those to non-direct marketing style businesses. And this is this whole thing where you say, well, my business is different, we've never done it this way. But you know, as I've told you, you know, the success that has been generated and with the different industries by adopting this philosophy will really serve you. So I would like you to get this book, please. Okay, now you could go to this website. I'm not affiliated with it. I, you know, don't get a cut out of it. I'm not asking for any form of referral or anything else like that. The book costs $10.36. This is, and if you go to www.nobsbooks.com, nobsbooks.com, you'll see it there. I think in the UK it'll cost about £12 once you've ordered it via Amazon or whoever you decide to order it. But this is homework. Okay, this is homework. I would like you to get this book. It's very, very important that you get it, because it will give you something to really read, and the book really goes into deep detail about the sort of marketing triangle and some case studies and some other marketing gems, you know. Now, I'm going to make a very bold prediction here, okay? If you buy that No BS Direct Marketing book, you will make a marketing jump from being an 18 handicapper to a 4 handicapper, right? So that's the analogy. I think you know how big that is. Let's say you're at your pro shop and somebody who plays off 18 came to see you, and you're able to get them from 18 to 4 just by reading a book. How big would that be, right? And that's if you read the cover, read the book and the cover and apply the principles. Okay, now what would that jump mean though? You know, let's get your head around it. Let's just very quickly say, you know, how would you rate yourself as a marketer right now? And you might say, well, I'm probably an 18. Some will say I'm a 28. Others will say, well, I'm about 8 right now. Well, I'm saying that this book will get you down to a 4. So when you see that jump, what would it mean to your business? Okay. What would it mean to your financial security for your family when you think, geez, by being a better marketer now, being able to generate some more business, your overall peace of mind and your thought process on the future. In the past, I've spoken about great marketing being like having a great short game. And what I mean by that is that if you've got a great short game, when you're trying to frantically glue a round of golf together, when you're fighting with your swing and struggling with a few things, that short game can really serve you, right? But when you are sort of just playing and your game is just right on the button, now that great short game can do even better, because on the short par 4s and on the reachable par 5s, you're getting up and down. You're just sort of really making things happen. And that's the same as far as the future's concerned. You'll be able to deal with any situation if you can make that jump. And I believe you'll get it if you get that book. So buy that book, read it cover to cover, apply the principles, and you will make a marketing jump from being the equivalent of an 18 handicapper to 4 handicap. And the reason I say that, well, in many ways, I liken that book that I've recommended to this book right here. Now, as you well know, this is known, well, I don't even have to say a whole lot about the book. You know the importance of this book. And this is how I taught myself. I taught myself totally out of this book during my penultimate year in college. I was told to buy it by the pro at the country club there in Troy, Alabama, and I went ahead and bought it. And you know what? This is all relative. It's certainly not at any level, but I got my handicap down. I won my club championship. I won a number of sort of amateur events, played there and in the area, playing to a decent level. I still enjoy my golf, purely self-taught. I've gone to some pros, a bit of help on the short game and getting closer to, but predominantly I taught myself from that book. And interestingly enough, late 2009 and the start of 2010, I made a commitment to sort of get my game back into shape. I wasn't playing a whole lot, and I had one of the best golfing weeks of my life. And not only did it involve me playing at two of my favorite golf courses, but what happened was I shot 76 at Loch Lomond on the Monday, and then I shot 74 at Royal Liverpool, Hoylake, on the Sunday in 1 week. And this again was just getting the book and just reacquainting myself with a lot of the techniques and the principles which had enabled me to sort of get down to 4 in the first place. So when I say get the book, this is what I'm referring to. That marketing book will do for you and your business what it's certainly done for, what this book has done for me and my golf, and what I'm guessing has done for an awful lot of people out there. Okay, so this is the book. It saves and has saved businesses. It's changed lives. And like I said, there's no affiliate link, but just get it because it just gets you thinking along the right sort of way. Okay? And while I can't promise you that there are going to be some iconic images like the swing plane, how to wonderfully grip a golf club, and that wonderful, wonderful chatting point of supination, what I will promise you is that you will see this image in that book, and it really elaborates on the whole message, the market, and the media. And for me, certain things will stay with you. I showed you that picture of the grip in Hogan's book, and because I just became so focused on making sure the right sort of knuckles were showing and so on and so forth, I still don't to this day wear a grip, and I'm not saying you're going to walk around with a big triangle in your pocket all the time, but you'll certainly, things will resonate and they will really hold you in good stead. So go ahead and get the book. That is your homework. Get the book. And just a few more pictures of me out there playing golf, just really having enjoyed it over the years. Okay, so that's what this book did for me, and that's what this book, I'm sure, will do for you. All right, so homework assignment number 3. Okay, and yep, we got quite a bit of homework this time, right? I would like you to create a teaching related offer for the coming season. Okay, so a teaching related, so it's lesson based. That's what I'm basically saying. And what we need you to focus on is the who, the what, and the how here. So again, I had mentioned earlier on about maybe having some golf lessons for kids. All right, so can you put together something that's going to be for senior golfers? And if so, are we talking about senior men or are we talking about senior women, right? When we've got the message, what's the message? How are you going to resonate with them? Can you take the time to go to Google and look up and see, you know, the benefits of playing golf, or how a golf swing can help your lower back, or this, that, and the other, or how walking a certain amount a day can do something, right? You know, we really want to craft something specific here. Now, I did mention a teaching related offer. I think that would be the easiest, but of course if you want to do it for something else that you've got, or you need help in doing it for something else as part of your homework, just contact me, no problem. Put a message in the LinkedIn group, Golf Professional School of Marketing. Find us on my Facebook, the Facebook page for the Golf Professional School of Marketing. All details are here and we can work with you. But I think a teaching related offer would be a good one for the coming season. Then work on the who, work on the what, and work on the how, okay? How are you going to communicate this offer to them? Right? If it's for the, you know, golf club members, are you going to put it on the notice board? Are you going to put it in the club newsletter? Are you going to have some flyers on the counter? Are you, you know, what are you going to do? Really go ahead and take a look at this. And be ultra specific. Try and find a niche within the niche, okay? So as I said to you again, senior golfers. Right, should we go senior men or senior women? A certain age, or you know, really go ahead and deep, because you know the interesting thing, when you really begin to dig deep into this, you just find sources of income and business opportunities that just will fill you with so much confidence and enthusiasm. That's the thing. Okay, so that's your homework assignment. Focus on the who, the what, and the how, and make sure you pay big attention to this whole triangle. Each area is reliant on the other, okay? Very important. And, you know, without having all three of the legs, the stool will totally fall. So, folks, that is the marketing results triangle. And, you know, I know this has been a very detailed and long email and, I beg your pardon, video. And to be fair, in many ways, I've been practicing much of what I preach, because you see, this is only going to resonate with a few people, and that's what I exactly want it to happen. You know, I just want those who are really willing to work towards making things happen and are willing to put the time in. And you know, when you look back and you think of someone like a Jack Nicklaus, and you see how, you know, how he won, you know, over decades, you know, the great life that he's enjoyed and all the rest of it. Well, Jack went to the movies, remember? He used to painstakingly plot out, you know, how he wanted to hit the ball, how he would go ahead and prepare. You know, he said, I never hit a shot, not even in practice, without having a very sharp, in-focus picture of it in my head. And it's similar to this gentleman here, all right? He says you've got to plot things out properly. You know, you've got to be a marketer of what you do, right? And not just a doer of what you do. You've got to get in the game there. You've got to focus on this triangle. This will enable you to sort of, you know, avoid that blind archery where we just sort of say, oh, look, could you buy this? You know, the other day someone was focusing on rangefinders via one of the LinkedIn groups. It looked a great product, but he was just talking to everybody. And as a result, I'm not sure how many people sort of quite got what it was he was selling and how it would benefit them, you know. Focus always on the market, the message, and the media. The who, the what, and the how. And then on my side, you know, I'd love for you to stay in touch, okay? As you see, this is some real big teachings here, but you know, I will continue to do this. There's an opportunity for you to apply a lot of these things instantly and see some really great results. So please connect with me. Let me know how you're doing. Ask some questions. You can find us in our LinkedIn group, the Golf Professional School of Marketing. You can find me on Golf Pro School of Marketing, which is the blog. We're putting up some podcasts there and some other information that I know you'll find of interest. And then personally, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com, Matrix Mucha. You know, I throw out a few pearls of marketing wisdom from time to time on there as well. And it'll just be great to have you follow, okay? And again, you know, I can't promise loads of major championships for you, and I can't promise that things at home will be wonderful and you'll live in a fantastic house and, you know, you'll have all the grandchildren that Jack Nicklaus has. But what I can guarantee you is that we can ensure that you are able to stand the true test of time as a business the way this man did with his career. Okay? And, you know, if like Jack, you've got big family priorities and wanting to have, you know, security for your family and all the rest of it, well, and your business is the vehicle you want that to happen, then you seriously just need to pay attention to these marketing pearls of wisdom, because they will really greatly serve you. Okay? Go to the movies. Be like Jack, all right? With the marketing results triangle, go to the movies. Remember this. Remember the media, the how, the message, the what, and the market, the who. Do not fall into the trap, please, of saying, yeah, but my business is different, so this won't work. It will. It really will. You need to apply this about what it is you're selling, you know, who it is that you want to attract, and the manner in which you're putting up that message. But it will work. And as this man says, once again, you know, please be a marketer of what you do. Let people know exactly what it is you're doing, not just a doer of what you do. Okay? Don't be an advertising victim or indulge in blind archery, because it won't serve you and it will just cause more doom and gloom in an already sort of very unsettled economy. Focus on the who, the what, and the how. So, next time's training, and I promise you it won't be as long as this one. It'll still be pretty detailed, but it won't be as long. I really needed to just sort of cover these areas. Well, we're going to focus on railway tracks and marketing pillars, and this is something that I've worked on myself. I think it's very important. I think it will be very well received once you see it, because it's very visual, but it also enables you to sort of decide how to sort of become a marketer of what you do, as well as a doer of what you do, if indeed, you know, there are things that you need to deliver, which of course there are. You know, there's no point sort of saying to the over 60 market, right, yep, look, we've got a great golf academy taking place, and you need to be there to be the one actually doing that. And if you're there for a week or 3 or 4 days or a whole day, well, of course you can't be marketing. So I address those scenarios and those concerns, and as always, just provide some real useful insight that I know you'll find valuable. So, this is Mucha Marapa, founder of the Golf Professional School of Marketer, where we're teaching you how to recession-proof your business by becoming truly great at marketing. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope that it has helped you. I hope that there are areas here that you feel comfortable and confident that you can apply. And please, you know, you can talk to me via the Facebook page or the LinkedIn group if you've got some questions, if you're unsure on some certain things. And until next time, I really look forward to hearing of all the great things that you've sort of achieved via this great marketing triangle. We'll speak to you again very soon. Bye-bye.